What a life, what a life. I can't believe that this is my life. What a life, what a life. But I never trade for anybody else's life.
Did you see the bench come in? Ani Trime and I met at Pema Chodron's workshops up at the Omega Center. But we've never really talked, and I've always wanted to have a longer conversation with
She always has you in silence up there. You can't talk.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. You get up there, and immediately she says, no talking.
Gateway to the Himalayan artery.
Museums in general, I find to be intimidating. And here, I do get a little intimidated because everything is so foreign to me that I'm not sure how to react.
Really old stuff.
Well, I think by the end of this session, you'll be able to speak to many things in this museum, because that's what a visit to a museum should be able to do. It should be able to address the hard questions without fear. Every image has a significance and a story. So this is actually a really good representation here of a bodhisattva. And you see, you've got some rather unusual indentations here,
Yeah.
which we think are actually bullet holes. So chances are quite good that this bodhisattva was used as target practice. You know, a bodhisattva. Well, actually, Ani, tell us what you think a bodhisattva is.
A bodhisattva is somebody whose first interest is in helping others. Compassion is a hard thing to really understand. You know, when we feel sorry for somebody, that's not what we talk about as compassion.
Well, what is compassion?
It's actually heartfelt concern. Everybody we meet has a burden.
Mm-hmm.
So by understanding that, you're able to be more kindly toward them. Everybody has a burden, you know.
Right.
Yours is not bigger than mine, or Tim's is not bigger than, well, it's taller, but not bigger.
I can distribute the burden a little. You know, his story, and again, Steve, every painting is a little bit of a movie, and this
Right.
storyboard explains how Avalokiteshvara was a bodhisattva. He was trying to help everybody reach nirvana. Think of him trying to sort of herd all these hundreds of people. Oh, no, wait, there are thousands of people. Oh, no, wait, there are millions of people. Ah, I'm losing my mind. And in fact, he had basically a Buddhist version of a nervous breakdown. His head exploded and broke into 11 shards. And his arms also shattered into 100 pieces because he just couldn't cope. And the Amitabha Buddha saw his predicament and decided to help him by creating a new face out of each shard of his head. And so here, while you have the original head, you also have mounting on top 11 other heads, all facing the different directions, so that he could better see the suffering around him.
Tim, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope that was
Appreciate it.
helpful.
That was great.
I hope you can use 2 seconds of it.
Yes.
Oh, you have a park
But
bench.
we could all, yes, we brought in a park bench.
Oh, that's a great site for it.
All right.
You know, I've been practicing for 40 years, and you know, when Tim was explaining about the statues and so forth, I think maybe 10, 12 years ago, my attention started to go away from that sort of thing and go to just what am I doing with my life? And what is everybody else doing with their life? Buddhism has become, of course, it's infiltrated with Christianity, so we think we have to do something good.
Right.
And that's how we see the word compassion as doing good deeds, which it is. But it's also a true, heartfelt giving. You know, not something we think we should do, but something we feel in other people that we're actually willing. When you begin, you can get very aggressive with compassion. Oh, yeah.
Let me help you.
This, you listen to me, I help you.
Right.
But anyway.
But you also talk about kindness as being very important. Not just kindness to others, but kindness to yourself.
Well, it's easy to be kind to other people. And it's
It is?
Yeah, well, for some
Okay.
it is. And it's easy to be kind to those people you love.
It's also easy to be to be awful to the ones you love, too.
Yeah, for
In fact,
sure.
that's
yeah.
sometimes when I find it the hardest to be kind. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I think if you take all the teachings of the Buddha and you boil them down and find out what the Buddha's really saying, first of all, his first noble truth was there is dukkha, sometimes translated as life is suffering, which is not at all what he said. He said there's dukkha. Dukkha means some sort of dissatisfaction or something like that. So, but he said there's a cause. There's always a cause for this dukkha. So we try to approach the reason for us suffering so much.
Right.
Is because we're not kind to ourselves. As I said, let me go back. For most of us, it's easier to be kind to others than it is to be kind to ourselves. Kindness to ourselves, and I'm going to back and say that again, it's just having the attitude of, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we find argument with just about everything. Oh, it can't be that way.
So when you say, so that's okay, so like if I get anxious or angry.
I get angry. Anger doesn't stop.
Right.
But you can stop acting on your anger, whether it's toward yourself or
Right.
toward your loved ones or toward the guy across the street.
I want to ask you a very specific question about meditation. I try and do it every day, but here's what happens to me sometimes is that I start, thinking. I mean, you can't stop your thoughts.
No, that's not the idea at all.
But I also get, especially if I'm doing something like this, where I'm in the middle of doing this show, and I get ideas, I get creative. Once I finally stop and then, sit, all these creative ideas come. And all of a sudden, it's like the timer goes off, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I was meditating.
Yes, you were.
Was I?
Yes, you were.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, the idea of meditation is to recognize our thoughts, not to change our thoughts, but just to recognize how we think. After a while, you actually begin to settle down a little bit. Your mind begins to slow down. And you begin to realize all that we are is a result of our thoughts, founded on our thoughts, made up with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make our world.
I mean, it's not that this is all an illusion, or is it?
Well, they say it's a dream.
It's a dream.
Buddhism says we live in a dream. We live in our imagination. It blows your mind to realize that there is no reality beyond our conscious mind. Everything else is a dream. So we're dreaming.
You're blowing my mind right now.
So I had to take it back.
No,
Skip it, wipe that.
No.
The first time I ever sat for a long time was just one day. After I settled down to realize I was going to meditate all day, I began to look over there, and so I didn't like that person, so I spent some time hating them. And then I saw something, and I got attracted to that one over there, so I fell in love and had a little fantasy about that. And at the end of the day, I realized I've been through all those things with all those people, and all I was doing was sitting on my cushion. When we begin to see how we fantasize and make it so real, it's pretty interesting. You can have great dramas and all kinds of things, and you just watch that arise. Then you always have an object of meditation. That is something to bring your mind back to. It's simply your breath. And I want to reply to what you said. I try to meditate. What was that guy at the bottom of the ocean? Yoda? Yoda was down in the ocean when anyway, Yoda. We'll find out who Yoda is.
Okay.
He said, no try, just do.
Yes, okay. Just do, yes.
So when we try to meditate, that means that we're going in with an idea of something we're going to do. So my shortest meditation instruction is sit down, be quiet, and see what happens. So whether you do it for 3 minutes or 3 hours, it's constantly watching and feeling what's arising. Come back to your meditation object, which is, if I neglected to mention that, is your breath. To this moment. Maybe you bring it back to the pain in your leg or the pain in your back or whatever. Just bring it back to what's happening right now.
I did think about interviewing you in a bar.
I can sit on a bar stool really well.